because we don't have to talk about this one topic the entire time. So that'll work.
You say, so let me bring up the page then.
Go ahead, just send me the link once you do that.
Okay.
And we'll just go from there. In the meantime, we'll talk and do our thing, and then we'll wait for Bills whenever he gets here. So he should be here shortly.
Hopefully, I get a welcome back from the peanut gallery.
Oh yeah, because you was not here last week. That's right.
Yeah, well, I wasn't here for Thursday.
That's what I'm saying. Thursday,
Yeah.
you wasn't here for Thursday. That's right. Yeah. So
I seen Scott OG was there again. So
yeah, he came through again. Scott OG came through and talked a little bit. That's a good thing. You know, the podcast is continuously growing with everything going on. That's what we're here for. And we'll continue to try to bring ideas to the table as far as topics, just to keep things somewhat relevant. With that being said, this topic is going to try to keep sports relevance to a degree. This is episode 157 of the First and Framerates podcast. Myself, DJ81, Bill said he's going to be late. So we're going to wait on him. In the meantime, we're going to keep things going. Okay, I got the link, DJ. Cool.
All right.
And
cool.
Jared, what's going on? Appreciate.
Hey, what's up, Jared?
He did say he's going to try to catch us live. He don't catch us live often, so that's great. Other than that, man, look, we're just going to go straight into it after the intros. We're going to talk about keeping sports relevant, because even with sports are trying to come back, some of them are going to be curtailed. You have the college is going to have their issue with they're doing only conference games. The NBA is doing their thing with the bubble, but even the ones that's supposed to be in the bubble, some of them are already contracting coronavirus, and the NFL don't know what they're going to do. I suspect that they're going to play games, but it's nowhere near to what we're used to. So these sports games, in my opinion, are going to be very important for people who love sports to that extent. Could we replicate the sport even with its flaws to fill that void, our itch of sports throughout the rest of this year? Or it's just going to be a wash and we're still going to be sitting around here looking like zombies, hoping for real sports to come back? Now, with that being said, I have DJ. Like I said, Bill's is coming later. You can find us on Google Podcasts, iTunes. Come through on the Discord. We got new members on the Discord. I want to apologize. I haven't been on there much often. I have the notifications on my phone and on my computer, and I just have not been on there. That's my fault. I will make an attempt to be on there more often. With that being said, catch us all the way on there. Also, our Twitters, DJ81, his Twitter, mine is VF Baller. But then I'm going to let DJ do his intro. DJ, how you been, man?
Man, I've been doing good. Almost had a snag with the blog that released earlier today. Wix was trying to imitate 2K servers for the day, so I had to deal with old information after new information was erased. I was really pissed about that. But other than that, the weekend was good. We got a chance to relax a little bit, catch up on any sports happenings, especially with the Washington Football Club. They, as you guys already know, they retired the name. So I will try my best until they pick a new nickname, which I hope is the Red Wolves, to not call them by their old name. So
I really think Red Wolves stick. Some people saying Red Tails, trying to honor the Tuskegee Airmen. I get where they're getting at, but I like Red Wolves a lot. I think that works very well for the team.
Yeah, I think it's safer because you're going after an animal, and the whole trying to honor people.
Right.
That didn't work with Native Americans.
Exactly.
Work with the first bad play they have, they're going to say, "Oh, look, the Red Tails lost a man." When they real life, they never did lose a man, so we ain't gonna
Right. And then you don't want to get into a situation where somebody dig up some pass about some Tuskegee Airmen, and then you have a whole kerfuffle and all kind of craziness going on. Just some little small incident, you never know what may pull up, and they'll make a big deal out of it. And all of a sudden, they try to make the airmen look bad. So you don't want to do that. So I think Red Wolves is perfect for the team. I think it fits very well, in my opinion. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But just one more thing for that blog, which was The Last of Us 2 review, you can go to my site, dj81.org. Just want to plug the site in because, invested some
Right.
money and got myself a little site. So yeah, just go to dj81.org and go check it out. Got some
And,
articles there.
and if you can't catch what he said it really clearly, but some people can't comprehend. I hate to say that. The link is down in the description. So,
You mean they're deaf?
well, I ain't gonna say yeah, some people hear very clearly and still mess it up. So, I mean, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
how
The link,
about this?
what's that?
Clickety clack. There
There
you
you go.
go.
It's in the description and it's in the chat. So there you go. Noble, what's going on? And Bills, he just stepped in the building. Bills, how you been?
I've been busy, man. I was busy all the way up till start of this podcast, so I made it. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. I mean, I know we all been busy. I've been busy. I've been doing things on my second channel. Just finished a podcast episode over there. Also done a couple videos over there. Did some videos in the can already over there. Been doing stuff on this channel as well. I want to start doing things for my NC State Dynasty for NCAA 14, not just '08, because I'm retiring the Georgia one and the Georgia Southern one, believe it or not. I'm retiring those
Mm.
and I'm going to go straight NC State for NCAA 14 and NCAA '08. And to me, I like the other two dynasties, but to me, I've won too much on the Georgia Dynasty, and the Georgia Southern one just don't feel authentic because they're team builder teams. To me, it just don't feel right. I mean, they've done a fantastic job making the teams, but it just feels kind of hollow. It's like I don't know. It's like a mod going weak or a mod going bad or something. It's just to me it just don't feel right. So I was like, well, if I do another Georgia Southern one, it'll probably be on an older game that actually has a team in its full fledged glory or whatever. But nevertheless, outside of that, I've just been playing a bunch of games and doing a bunch of stuff around the house. And with that being said, we're going to also get into the topic of today. We're going to talk about sports gaming importance, and we're going to talk about the vlog, well, the article that EA put out about their gameplay or some tweaks of what I know DJ will talk about that. So we'll get into that as well. So Bills, I want to start with you. Sports gaming importance with the way sports are going right now, with everything being curtailed, we may not have a real season of football, college, or other or NFL. Do you think Madden or even people are going back to play NCAA? Do you think those games will fill somewhat of a void for people who want the full fledged experience compared to what we may not get this year? Even with the NBA, 2K21 or whatever. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, considering the fact that people don't watch sports as much as they claim in this community, I think they'll just be fine playing video games. Because when you hear them talk sports, they clearly don't watch them. So yeah, the game should be just fine for those people. Because 90% of them don't really watch sports. So that's my short answer on that.
Well, just plain and simple, huh? Like, yeah, these people don't watch sports as much. I mean, you're right. Like, outside of the sim community, and that's kind of debatable as well.
Mm.
You have some people that strictly just want to play Madden just because of the arcade style of the game. They want to play Madden because of the tournament style, or they don't really try to dwell into a matchup between the Seahawks and the 49ers on a Sunday. They just want a certain player on their team that they can do some wild and crazy stuff. So I get you on that. I agree. So DJ, I want to flip it to you. What are your thoughts? Is it just cut and dry for you as well?
Well, since Bills cut out about 90% of the crowd watching any sports, I'm going to talk to you fantasy football owners or you fantasy sports owners. So if your sport is not going to go this fall, then you're talking about fulfilling your fantasy sports on the video games. I think in as far as NBA 2K, as far as MLB The Show, I don't know what NHL is doing, but as far as those sports are concerned, I feel like you got a proper franchise mode that you can just sim and manage your team and do all those types of things. You also have those text only sports games that are on PC that
Right.
people can run their franchise and stuff like that. Madden, I don't know. You may be ass out. So
Yeah. I'm kind of feeling you on that as well. They may have a problem on their hands where they can't, they're not able to, fill that void. I think, with the way we're looking at Madden right now, it's basically you have to try your best to get that experience. And it's getting to the point where the slider's not going to work because franchise mode is lacking that bad. This right here, like the thing about, like I said in the yard video, I don't think that the gameplay is that bad, but to get the full experience that we're talking about on this episode, franchise is so lacking so bad, you don't even feel like you're running a team. You know what I mean? It's just, it don't feel like you're running 53 players to get them better. So yeah, you might be right. I mean, you look at NHL, you feel like you own that. You feel like you own everything from the players to the state. No, I ain't gonna say own. I don't want to get
oh boy, here we go.
you see, you see, like you run everything from everything on the ice rink to the players. Like you run all that. Like you feel like it's your franchise. Like Madden is like.
Come on, as an African American, you should be proud that you own something.
No, that is true.
Than the other way around. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. Yeah, you're right. But it's just that. It's just the problem with it is just it's sad because honestly, it shouldn't be. This really shouldn't be an issue because the franchise mode, at least for Madden, it should be there. And I don't want to make this a fixed franchise, Madden franchise hashtag episode, but it kind of resorts back to that. Like the NBA 2K don't have a problem with this. If they keep everything, they can keep everything exactly where it is now, and you can feel like you're running an NBA franchise and have an NBA season with the way the NBA 2K is right now.
Just make sure you give the women a My League.
What that's too. And the thing about it is, DJ, you don't even have to play the games in NBA 2K to feel that way. You prove that yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? You prove that yourself. Like you can sim it and you still feel like you're the owner of the team or the NBA, you're the governor of the team.
You know what's funny? I can literally sit there and be like, hey, y'all want to gamble on who wins the championship? And really like sum the season and report on it as if it was a real NBA season. And yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like, and that's the thing that when some people say that we be bitching and moaning about this stuff, but when we see it in other games and we see other people, other games get past what we're looking at, and they do it on their platforms. It's like, well, what Madden's the excuse? Well, Madden just gives us some patch notes and say have a nice day. It's crazy. Like this right here. Noble says in the chat, I went back to Madden 12.
Yep.
I mean, you shouldn't have to do that. I mean, be honest, you don't. The only reason you should go back to an old game, honestly, if it's the last one made, i.e. NCAA basketball 10, NCAA 14. Like if I see somebody go back and play those games, I get it because they're not being made anymore. But if you're constantly making these games, like nobody should have to go back to Live 10. And I mean, I don't even want to talk about Live in general, but nobody should have to go back to those games. Like Live 19 should be like a really good basketball game to play. And that game, people still go back to Live 15 to Live 10. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I mean, we could just, the root of the problem is just something about EA just don't really give, two damns about a game if they, have fierce competition or they have no competition. It's just something about it. Like outside of, NHL, I mean, they seem like that's the only one that they care about. I mean, FIFA is going down the drain, and then you turn around, you have I mean, I don't even want to talk about UFC 4. From what I hear, people not even liking that much. Or that's a beta, but that's another, that the jury's still out on that. So Bill, so with that being said, what about you in general? What are you going to do? Are you just going to continue to do what you do and just play your games and just make it as close to filling that void as possible, or you're good?
I mean, I anticipate there being sports soon, so I'm not really too worried about that. And then yeah, I'm gonna play the games, all the releases this year. I'm gonna skip 2K's current gen. I'm gonna pick up Madden next month, and shit, I might skip EA UFC. That's a different story. Um, NHL is probably gonna get skipped because they want to sit out the first year of next gen, and I'm not doing that again. with them.
Yeah, they did it last year. They did it last generation.
Pez
Yeah,
haven't
they.
said anything. I might go ahead and skip out on them because once
Oh
again,
no, Pez already did. I think they did say something, and what they're doing is that live service. So basically, it looks like it's going to be the same gameplay, whatever, as 20, but they're going to update it. Let me check into it a little bit further, but I saw that real quick earlier, so I'll check in on that.
Okay.
yeah, that's gonna be a no for me. So
See, and
yeah,
I mean that's another thing that I mean we can just branch off on that. It's like why the next generation? Why do these games seem like they feel like seem like or feel like? Why do they feel like they have to reinvent the wheel and not build on what they have? Like I understand what 2K did last generation because of what the jump from PS3 to PS4 was big because the architect was bigger. The 360 to Xbox One, there wasn't on the same type of plight when it comes to the way the consoles are built. So I can see them doing something different. Even with 2K doing something different from the ground up, I don't see as anything to the point where they bare bones it and build it up again. I don't understand that this go around because the PS4 to PS5, they're basically the same type of architect. It just one's more powerful than the other. I mean,
yeah,
I
but
don't get it.
2K's needed to rebuild their gameplay engine from the ground up for a while now. Even though they've been able to evolve as far as some of the animations they're putting in the game, that's basically a band-aid. Their movement system's been shit, their AI's been shit for a long time. And that's why people
Well, I
like
mean,
me have to make sliders and continue to make rosters. So
well,
they should build it.
I totally get you with that when they say with gameplay because when you different with playing with different code, I get it. But I'm talking about from a game from a point where they take things out completely, like they did with NHL when NHL came over to PS4, or in some cases with Madden when it was basically a carbon copy. They didn't build on something when they had the more power or whatever, and they basically used the same code. It's like, why would you strip down a game completely? I don't think that that's an excuse this year to where any of these games that come out, like you said with PES, they're doing the same thing. I don't think that's an excuse this time around because you're still using like the same type of format to build these consoles. You're using the same one from the last generation. I mean, unless if you're using like a completely different CPU format, which they're still using AMD, so it's not that big of a deal. I don't see why it would be that big of a turn where you strip it down and pick it back up. I mean,
Well, I think
DJ,
it remains to be
go ahead.
seen if that's actually going to happen or not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. But I was saying like I was just basing it off what you said with Pez, and that's why I doubted if 2K would probably do it. Because 2K for the most part, if you think about it, the last generation they actually did build off of what 2K14 did, even though they built from the ground up. So you may be right. DJ, what are your thoughts? You think I'm think it's an issue on my end, or you think I'm tripping, or what?
I don't really think you're tripping at all. I just think that as far as just let's see. I'm trying to figure out my spin on this would be that because I'm sorry, I was like busy looking for the site for the Pez. As you guys can see that I had the link where I seen this news about Pez 2021 being a season update instead of a full-fledged release. Um, I don't think you're tripping at all. I think that you have to prepare for the real possibility of these sports canceling and stuff like that, and more folks leaning on the virtual side of things for their enjoyment.
What do you think about games getting stripped down for the next generation, like they did last generation, like they did with NHL 15, or even with Madden when they just bought the game over? They didn't add much to the games when they know they have more power. Gameplay wise, I get it because you may be using different architect, but do you think that's an issue as well when it comes to bringing more modes or just keeping some things that was already there? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, the thing is, they have these dev kits for a reason. I would think that you could, at this point, after going through the last year, there should be no excuse to strip down a game. Going from I'm like after last generation, or this current generation on, there should be no excuse because they have dev kits to figure out whether they can get these modes in or not. And each generation tends to last about 5 to 6 years. So you mean to tell me that you can't figure this shit out in about 5 to 6 years?
Wow, that's true. I can
So
understand that. It's mind boggling sometimes when I think about stuff like that. Not only with how games are supposed to be built for this coming up season, like that's another issue. Like if the games could fill this void, I mean, you don't want it to try to attempt to fill that void for entertainment and the replacement of real life sports as we knew it, and then come to find out that you have very bare bones that modes or very bare bones gameplay where you can't even feel like you're expanding. The we're big kids, so I'll just say it. You're not even expanding your imagination to feel like you are running a franchise or whatever the case may be, because it's point A to point B. It's not where it is with. It's so many avenues you can go through with other franchise modes in these games. You don't want to have nothing scaled back to the point where you just feel like you're just standing here and at a loss because it's not giving you what you want. So it is something to think about. It's something to really be wary about. I mean, Bill said that he doesn't have a big deal about it. He think it's going to be okay for the most part, but it's just something to think about, because he said like 2K does a great job with it. 2K has done a good job with it. But for the most part, when you look at Madden or NHL, they already did this before. So it's just something to think about again.
the one time they did strip it was 14 NBA 2K14 was when it was stripped going to the next gen.
They stripped some things on that, and I don't even want to talk about NBA Live 14 because everything was stripped from pretty much everything from Live 10 was stripped out of 14. I think the only thing they kept in 14 as far as franchise mode was the progression system of the staff, because they have a really good. That's one thing about Live I did like. Live have a really good progression system for your assistant coach, your coach, and the trainers or whatever. Like you get points. Like if you win like 25 games, if you win 10 games, you get like 200 points. Those 200 points could go to building your staff up so they can become better coaches. I thought that was pretty neat. And all the while you're doing that, you're still able to build your team as far as them getting better throughout the year. But outside of that, Live 14, the entire game was just stripped down to the point where it was almost unrecognizable compared to Live 10 and even NBA Elite 11 or 3rd. It seemed like they NBA Live 13 was trying to be like Elite 11 and 10 mixed, but once 14 came, they got rid of all that stuff. 14 felt like a totally different game. All right, let's look at some of the chat right now.
Yeah, let me answer. B5 said it's hard to build software on hardware. Next gen dev kits, that is subject to change. Well, isn't the software subject to change too? So right, it can't change along with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I kind of get what he's saying, because it's true. Because you when you building games from the ground up, I mean, you're gonna have all type of differences and bugs and things change because it's totally different. But when you with this generation change in general, they even said it. They're going to keep the tradition of keeping basically the same type of format of what the PS4 and the Xbox One was. They're just making it much stronger. So it was
there's OG again.
He said, "Don't forget the tip about that's another thing, right? He's right. Don't forget about Team Pacific Defense's Live 14. I forgot he worked on that game. He knows better than I do. So, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed 14 a lot, but I just know compared to 10, you almost look like you was looking at a different game. So it's something to really think about. Let's look at somebody else in the chat. Jared says it's like that with College 2K8. Coach Carousel was awesome, and it felt like I controlled my squad. He's talking about some games that you felt like you was running a team. In College 2K8, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's probably like the deepest franchise or dynasty mode I've ever played. I mean, you can recruit kids out of freshman high school for them to come to your school 4 years later, And I'm not joking about that. Like if you find a freshman or a sophomore that was really good back then, or even if they're not that good, if you're gonna, bank on them and think they're going to be good by the time they're a senior, you can continuously track their career in high school. So by the time they're senior, I think in some cases maybe a junior, they can commit to your team. College Hoops 2K8 is nothing like it. That's probably like the best one.
Well, because he brought up Coach Carousel. If NHL would just give me more strategies and shore up their gameplay mainly on defense, they would definitely give me the same type as 2K as college 2K8 as far as like being able to feel like you're running a team because a lot of stuff I figured there was stuff missed that wasn't in College Hoops 2K8 that NHL was able to take advantage of when they did their coaching carousel with player morale, coach morale, line chemistry, and all these types of things. So it's just like that whole feeling of having more control and also seeing where you can, make changes here and there. Because in the past with NHL, you didn't understand why certain players didn't play well. You didn't understand why, because they also have the personality traits that you really don't see, but you wonder why players conflict and so on. So it's just like it definitely helps you when you're looking at trades, free agency, drafting, and stuff like that, and contract negotiations as well. So I definitely feel that more control.
Right, yeah. I totally understand that. I'm big on franchise. That's all I like to play. So I'm really big on that. So I'm all here for a long, deep, and full-fledged franchise. I need that. Ravens, I'm good.
No, go ahead.
Ravens Nation said everyone talks about how basic franchise is. No one mentioned how bad they stripped down superstar mode from PS2 to PS3. Yeah, superstar mode in PS2 was basically where you can do everything all the way down to even picking your parents. That was something that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was clutch.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And when it came to PS3, I don't even remember playing the one on PS3. It wasn't the same. I think I remember playing Road to Glory in like 13 and 14, NCAA 13 and 14, and it traveled over. No, I think 12. In 12, you did Road to Glory NCAA 12, and it traveled over to Madden 12. That was like the last one I played, and it was that was like the closest I got. But even when he said superstar mode was a deal where you didn't have to have Madden to start it off. You can play superstar mode all the way to Campus Legend. When you played on NCAA, you was a student in the dorm room. You had to go to class. You had to learn, and you actually had to take quizzes in the game, like world history and math. And you had to go to study and all this other stuff. I mean, you had to do all this real life stuff in NCAA football on the PS2 version if you played Campus Legend. Now, from there, once you finish your 4 years, or you can leave after once you're eligible, you can actually do one or two things. You can continue to be a coach at that school, or you can go on to the pros and be a player. It's just something like that. It's one of the reasons why I say we need NCAA games back, because stuff like that was just phenomenal. It linked both games together. It felt like both games was one game. So you don't get stuff like that anymore. Let's see who else is next. B5 asked me, Banksy, keep a copy of Madden 20 because it's the last game you can have as the Redskins. Yeah, that is true.
And what's funny? Because I see on my timeline on Twitter a whole lot of people who are sentimental towards the name. My message to those people: let it go. It's just a name. I'm like, it's a name that I'm. Again, I was one of those people that wanted to keep the name, but I'm also was open to a new name. And like I said, Red Wolves.
Right.
That's what I'm about now. So hopefully we get that name, Red Wolves. Let's go.
My thing is, I mean, we'll before we continue to go as far as the name go, I never had a problem with the name, but I understand what people are saying. Redskins, Red Wolves, I'm okay with either one. But if you're going to change it, I prefer Red Wolves over any other name that's out there. That name just sounds really good for a football team. And I like it a lot. So I'm definitely in favor of the Red Wolves. But I mean, my thing is I always felt that, I think people look at the Indians as in a different connotation that I do, and that's fine because everybody's going to be different. And I understand the bravery behind Indians. Some people don't look at it that way. So, with that being said, it's gotten to the point where it needs to be changed based on the reaction that's out there now. And like I said, I'm all for Red Wolves. I think it sticks, it works, and it sounds great.
I know this much. I need the team to take the name off their website. I need the NFL to make that happen. I need all that to just take place. Just be like football club. Nah.
Oh wow.
Nah, they're still listed as the Redskins. So and yeah, I did just break my rule, but I'm just citing what's still up on the site. So that's not for me.
I got you. Let's see if there's anything else. Real football game. Appreciate you coming through. He said, I listen a little. I can watch after work. Thanks for you guys' time to talk about sports games. Like I said, this is what we're here for, man. I know how things are when it comes to society and how everything is going. People look down on sports right now. They don't know if this coming back. They have their issues with the virus, and people are dealing with that. So we try to give some type of commentary that actually directly talk about sports and not even talking about what's really going on in society when it comes to what's going on out here in these streets. So we try to bring it back, try to keep it as normal as possible. So, we didn't even know we have a couple of people that follow us and listen to us that are actually going through COVID right now. So, and for us to keep them afloat and keep them, entertained, I think that's a really big deal because I just can't imagine what they're going through. So no problem, man. Always, you can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. You can also, come back to this channel and listen to us here if you want. I mean, that's what we're here for. And we do appreciate everybody who's here listening. We really do appreciate it.
Too bad we can't get on Spotify for some reason.
Yeah, let's not talk about that because I didn't apply for them twice since the last time we talked about that, and I haven't heard anything. And I might have to see if I'm gonna have to file a complaint.
I'm gonna have to pull my subscription.
I'm gonna have to say I'm offended. Maybe they'll put it in there then. Let's see. Anybody else? Nope, I don't see. No. Original Biggie says, "Good evening, everyone. I don't mind the Hogs because of their history." Yeah. Okay. So are you speaking of that as far as you're talking about that's what they used to call the risk? Okay, I got you.
The offensive line.
Right. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I had to think about that for a second.
My thoughts on that, once again, it's good for a nickname for that line, but not for the team. I am not being, and you realize all the cop jokes that could be made off of that. So we're not even gonna go there. I'm like, all of a sudden they'd be talking about like the first player that gets burnt, and they're like. And like let's say Josh Norman was still on the team and he gets burnt, the insult would be fried like bacon. Yeah, we ain't going there.
You know how that is. You're right. Chris Thomas asked, you already know. If you haven't watched my video, you should already know. The opinions on the yard for Madden 21. DJ Bills, I'm gonna let you have that.
Really? Are you serious? On the yard?
Hey, I already said what I said about it, so I mean, I had a whole video on it. So, Bills, are you still there? What are your thoughts about the yard?
I'd rather play in my yard.
I have a backyard.
Right.
I'll sit out there at night and chill, but nah, that's okay. That's now the third arcade mode that Madden has put out.
One. That's what I said in the video.
Three arcade modes.
It's the third time that they did this to us. You're right.
My thing is, like, who's running the PR department over there coming up with the names for these fucking modes?
Hey,
the yard?
Yeah, the yard.
And you know what's funny?
Who the fuck has ever played football in a yard with 6 people on each side? How big is this fucking yard?
Well, I
kind of family reunion.
Yeah, I've never been in anybody's yard that's been that big enough to house 6 on 6. You know, like we probably had to go somewhere like next to a pool where there's open field and stuff like.
The yard sounds like a baseball
prison.
That's what I'm
yeah,
well, yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say.
But
The
the yard
longest
sounds
yard.
like the yard sounds like maybe like if you're playing baseball in some type of arcade mode, not football.
Baseball, yeah, absolutely. Baseball, it is perfect if it was baseball.
Nah, I hear the yard. I hear phone check, bitch.
You so silly. Like personally, I think that it's just another slap in the face to people who want franchise mode. Honestly, I mean they could have used those resources to boost up the mode. You know, I get what they're doing. I understand that they're trying to cut the legs out of 2K because 2K they're going to make a football game like that. As far as I know, I mean OG may know better than we do, but as far as them making an arcade style game because they can't do a simulation game, I get what they're doing. But our thing is, since Madden 15, and I'm being generous, since Madden 15, people been saying they've been wanting something in this mode, and it's almost 6-7 years later.
Now here's my question. For the face of the franchise mode, you can only make quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So you're telling me that you're going to be playing both sides of the ball?
I think they say you start out as a quarterback and you get to a point where you have to switch.
No, you have the option to switch between
from the start.
After a while, you.
That's
have
what
the
I was
option,
saying.
But I'm saying either way, you end up as a wide receiver, running back, or quarterback. There's no defensive positions.
Right. And they should. I mean, I would think it'd be. I think face of the franchise would be amazing if you played like a linebacker or something. I think that would be great. That if they did that, that would have been really good.
Get that out of
there. I've been done with that mode.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to put lipstick on a pig. Because I played Road to Glory. And when I played Road to Glory on NCAA, it was actually pretty fun to play linebacker.
Yeah, but that's Road to Glory, though. It's a better game.
I get it. Let's see. Ravens Nation said that I expect to see a young version of Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith in the yard in prison shoes and a beanie. You stupid.
I mean, look, the only way I would play the yard now, if they had some type of NFL Street type thing with maybe legends or current players, then I would play it if it was offline.
Well, I mean, don't you think isn't Superstar KO is somewhat like a NBA NFL Street
That's
type already?
No, I don't want to play online.
No, I'm just asking. I mean, isn't it like
kind
set
of
up like that already?
Essentially.
Original Biggie also said, "You mean to tell me they spend more time on another arcade mode than franchise?" I call bull.
Yep,
I do too. But that's what it is. OG says the stuff I get mostly wanting to stay home more. Hit me up offline and I can help you out. Well, Bills, there's your invitation. Oh, you said gotcha. Okay, never mind. Yeah. What you about to say, DJ?
All I know is to this date, I have not touched any other arcade modes. I haven't played arcade style as far as the play style selection. I have not played Ultimate Team. I will not be playing the yard, and I have not touched Superstar KO.
I will be the first to admit I had fun with Draft Champions.
Well, they suckered you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, they got me to get in the mud. Now, that's some B.
Did he drop out?
So here,
your connection's some bullshit. That's
bullshit. I told you I wasn't gonna be the one to drop out this week. I got 5 gigahertz all in this room now.
Sean Grady's over here nerfing the hell out of his connection.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened because my internet hasn't gone out. I don't know if it's my mic. I might need to get another mic.
What signals do you have going on in your area? Because it could be it could be your phone, it could be anything that's giving off a signal.
Could be. Cause I mean, I'm still online. Like I didn't disconnect online or whatever. Just I think it had something with my mic or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's interference.
Right. Yeah. What I was about to say. No, I think Draft Champions should have stayed in Madden. That actual mode was really good because they didn't do any wonky stuff as far as arcade style stuff. The players that you pick actually play like their counterparts. So it wasn't like Madden Ultimate.
We said the year they put that in the game that if they kept it the way it was, and made it a season
right
mode, or whatever, then yeah, we would play it because it was very similar to APF. But did they
Right.
do that? No, they went and buried it in mud.
Yep. And that was the problem. It was basically like the mode was actually amazing. It's something that it wasn't a mode that was outside of franchise mode. I could see myself playing. Yeah. And because it played straight up, it played correctly, and whoever you got, that's what you got. Now you
get a fantasy draft kind of.
Right, it was a legit fantasy draft. Exactly, that's exactly what it was. Okay. Now with MUT, you can get a 99 Johnny Manziel, and we know that dude's like a 41 right now. But you can get him, and he's good. It's like it boggles my mind when that stuff happens. But yeah, I just can't get with it. Let's see. Quayface said they give out iced out change to players that don't even need it. Then putting money in. He's right, because like didn't like Ed McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, and Pat Mahomes got like a gold chain that said 99 on it. They're like giving away that, and then they can't put that money. Yeah, it's like they don't even need it. Yo, both of them, they're like they're like the two highest players.
I get it, but that's not even the same budget. We're reaching a bit with that.
No, I ain't reaching with nothing. It's all the same in my book.
You doing the MJ Space Jam reach with that?
Sure, with two hands. LT Magic, what's going on, LT? Appreciate
what's
you.
What's up, LT?
The door's still open for you to come to the podcast one day. He says, why not just come out with NFL Street again instead of just putting in a bullshit half-ass yard mode?
Oh, no wonder I didn't see his comment. He's over there being a fucking potty mouth.
But no,
but go to StreamYard to see his comment.
I know, right? But seriously though, he makes a lot of sense. Like I said it on my video, like, don't EA have the rights to NFL Blitz? The one with Ray Rice on the cover, because they made that an NBA Jam at the same time, right? So they have the rights to do this type of stuff, but they put it in Madden. That's another frustrating thing. I don't get it.
The easy reason why they're not going to do that is because it costs way less to just put it in a game and neglect the mode that you claim that you're going to put effort into.
I'm starting to think that they got limited SKUs that they can put out in games, or limited IPs they can put out. And I think that's something that goes directly to Electronic Arts themselves instead of just EA Sports. I could be wrong, but it just seems that way, because I don't think it's that easy to just put out another game with another SKU or another IP that easily like it was back in the day. See, I'm thinking my old school, like all you have to do is pay a licensing fee, or you just have to, come up with an idea that can throw money at, and they'll do it. Now it's like, I think it's a little different this time.
Well, if you drop the dead weight that is NBA Live.
Hey man, Live's coming back.
It's coming back on your console when you put in Live 10. That's the only way it's coming back.
I have a feeling that Maxis will make a comeback before Live does.
Shit.
IMV will come back first.
Jesus will come back before Live comes back. I mean, come on, man.
Y'all are crazy. IMV, man. 2021.
I
don't know.
They took everybody's money.
It's like there's no update to that. I mean, the guy who I talked to in the DMs about like talking to them about a lawsuit.
Oh, he went silent.
He went missing. Dude went missing. And like last thing I heard is like, anything you want me to ask him? I was like, yes. Is they have a real game coming out? He laughed and that was it. I think they kidnapped him or something.
Man, I remember I became the lawyer in that one. I advised you. I was like, we need to avoid this dude like the plague.
Right, like dude come on our channel, like all of a sudden and be like, hey, we gonna be in some litigation. Like, well, you said this on March 15th. What do you think? Like, wait a minute, no, we just report the news. Nah. B5 said too many meaningless modes in games today. They should work on quality. I agree, but sadly, some of these companies don't do that anymore, and it's unfortunate.
This will be a tough pill to swallow, but a lot of it is on the consumer base.
True, you're right.
I disagree.
No, you disagree.
The thing is, I would say it's on the consumer base. The companies still have to focus on quality, but a lot of times the consumer the consumer, whether they know it or not, they wind up letting these companies know what they really go for. Hence why you have multiple SKUs on games, like a standard edition, gold edition. That's why prices are going up on next gen, because people have been willing to pay on this gen 70 something dollars, $99 just to get, extra access. So the company's like, well, if they're willing to pay this, let me just give them this, just give them,
Keep
whatever on
pushing
the
the envelope.
surface, but not really focus on, quality
Yeah, just
of
keep pushing that
either the
envelope.
game, of either the game or the modes within.
I mean, I've told you my view on this, and this goes for, and this is offline. I told you my view on all entertainment and anything as far as consumerism and fan bases. I think
Mhm.
it's the same throughout in every single genre of that. When you are the producer of a product, you control the narrative. If
Yeah,
you are feeding people something, of course they're gonna want it because you fed it to them. They weren't thinking about it before you gave it to them until you gave it to them. Nobody was like, "Oh shit, I wish there was mud." No, they gave them mud.
yeah.
So you control the
What
narrative.
about those Madden cards that just popped up all of a sudden
What about
before it became mud?
Yeah, cause I got some bomb ass Madden cards on my 2002 stream, yo.
oh, I mean,
People started noticing that before EA was like, well, let's monetize that.
yeah, but Madden cards back then weren't
It was
specific to
it wasn't.
you're
That's what I'm
getting it
saying.
in a mode. It's
That's what I'm saying.
but what I'm saying is they put these things into the game to sway folks, and it's no different than playing a song 100 times on the radio. And somebody starts out saying they hate the song, and by the end of the day, they've heard it 3 times, and they're like, it's not so bad. It's the
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
true. He's
It's the
right.
same thing. They condition people. It's all conditioning. That's what these companies do. They condition people. I can never
Well, I
blame people
mean,
for
So
being
that's what
happy
so
because
that's
a
what I'm
lot of people.
saying.
Yeah, but a lot of people are followers. I can't blame them for being followers. They're in the majority as
but
far as
you also have to
No, but
understand.
you also
You
got to
also have to
be.
understand. Look at what they're doing with these microtransactions. They're trying their best to massage everybody to think it's the new norm by keep on giving it to us over and over again. Luckily, the Star Wars thing happened and it didn't, because that was them like taking the inches, and people like, oh, well, this $5 microtransaction ain't bad. Oh, this $10 one ain't bad. Oh, this 31 ain't bad. Oh, I gotta pay $60 for a season pass. That's fine. Then I can get a loot box with this. Then all of a sudden, Star Wars came up, and then people was like, okay, wait a minute, that's too much. But that's how they conditioned people to the point where that was almost okay until the only thing that stopped the Star Wars thing was the odds. It wasn't the actual loot box. It was just the odds of getting certain things.
Well, think about this. They've conditioned people to think that Madden should play the way it plays now.
Exactly. That's another example.
It's conditioning. It's not the people. People are followers. I've said this for the longest time. I
Yeah,
can't
but
blame people for being followers because they're the majority. They're
but
not the minority.
the question is, what breaks the cycle?
Nothing breaks the cycle.
Not really. Why?
I disagree with that.
Who are we then?
No, you're right. No, I kind of agree with
We're the minority.
Something can break the cycle, but it
Right.
has to. I mean, like I said, the Star Wars situation.
The cycle of the producers of the game, and they have
No,
a
lot of times it's the people.
Yeah,
look at what happened with. I'll just look at this. Look at how Mass Effect went,
That's another
and
one.
how they wanted to, like, the studio wanted to end the game a certain way. People were fine with it. They were good with the game up until the game ended that way, and then it was like, wait a minute, hold up, that's BS. That's not blah 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 blah. At some point, they broke from what the company wanted to do in order to get something different.
That's one title.
But not only that, I mean, like I
then
said,
you have Star Wars.
Listen, Star Wars was a big one, because I mean, now Star Wars is now they're not even trying to put no type of transactions.
And then
in the
you
game.
also have to, and this is what I'm saying. With Star Wars, you have countries that are literally looking at microtransactions and these loot boxes, and they're rolling them illegal. So it started somewhere, and now you have a bigger trend of people breaking the cycle.
That's not the outcry
that's
people, because they have the choice to simply not buy them.
Then that means they're not as much of a follower as you're putting out there.
Oh, okay.
If they choose not to buy, they have that choice is there.
So wait, here's my question. So you're giving 2 individual examples compared to all the ones that we could give for
But the
people.
one example has led to a bigger outcry in
Yeah,
microtransactions.
you got 2 examples. You got 2 examples, but the Star Wars one was significant. I mean, there's no denying that. Star Wars basically changed the way people look at games and changed the way pushing legislation on video games around the world. Now, I have to give Star Wars credit.
But here's the thing, Bills. I'm not disagreeing with you that there are followers. There are plenty of followers.
Right.
But at the same time, there are people that will be like, hold up, this is bullshit.
So let me ask you a question. By Mass Effect changing it, are they not still controlling the narrative and making people think, oh, we can do this with another game?
Were they going to change it if people
No,
didn't
like
change
what other game they're going to do it with? Because
what
the outcry was so bad, people didn't even touch it. Most people didn't even touch Andromeda, and they're not even thinking about coming out with another Mass Effect at all.
What I'm saying is, if they didn't change Mass Effect, and if they didn't change Star Wars, do you think people would still be bitching about Last of Us 2 and think that they would actually be able to get something done? Or would they go with conventional wisdom, which is, this is the game I bought, and I can bitch all I want, but it's not going to change? Somebody has to set that precedent.
I think the thing with Last of Us 2, I don't think it's the same. It's the same sentiment, but I don't think it's that big of as it was with Mass Effect 3, because the ending on that was just terrible. People just they voiced their pain of how it played out. Yeah, there was no denying that, Mass Effect 3 ending was just bad.
But because a lot of people didn't even. I'm like, I didn't even get the ending of Mass. I'm like it. I think because the outcry for that was that our choices didn't matter when it came at the end, because it was just like the ending was whatever.
But this is what I'm saying though. The producer throwing a bone in and of itself is controlling the narrative still, regardless.
But they wouldn't have thrown the bone if no one said anything.
But they didn't have to. They did it because they said, okay, well, let's get in the good graces with these people. I mean, seriously, what are they going to do? They can't get refunds. They bought the game. These people did it because they said, we want to get them in good graces for the next time we put a game out, so that we won't have this same issue. We don't want bad PR. It was a PR. It wasn't because people were bitching. They don't give a fuck if you bitch or not. They have your $60.
Well, I mean, if you're in the business of making another game, you're gonna have to do something to capitulate what your customers are saying. It's like one of the reasons why most of these sports titles aren't going to live off the $60 they got from Madden 18 and be okay, and just don't listen to nobody from now on. And in 19, 20, and 21, nobody plays it. They have to do something.
So Ravens Nation say you can get a refund, but you can't get a refund, but you can affect the next release.
Right.
Okay, so a bunch of people complained about franchise and they didn't fix it until December in Madden. How did y'all speak with y'all's pockets the next year? Oh, you didn't.
So you're trying to say nothing works when people say something?
When people complain about a game they already paid for, what does that do? You're not getting.
Well, what about Madden 21? Not too many people played for it yet.
Well, not. And what's happened with the franchise mode?
This is what now you're coming to full circle. This is what me and DJ was talking about. We're not talking about after you purchase. We're talking about beforehand. Because like I said, with the Star Wars situation was basically,
and that was multiple games.
Yeah,
because you're talking about, okay, they did Battlefront. People complained about a lack of a campaign mode. Well, Battlefront 2 gave you a campain mode, but then the microtransactions got out of hand, and then people complained about that, and they took that out.
And even how
that was even after people paid for
it. And even how successful Titanfall 1 was, that was a fairly successful game. People wanted a campaign mode in it, and they got it.
But see, Ravens Nation saying he didn't buy it, bro. You're one person. I'm talking about the majority versus the minority, bro.
But even if it's one person, but the thing is that it's not 100. Conditioning is never going to be 100%. It's got to start, but it's got to start somewhere, though. It can't just
start somewhere, and it never ends with one person saying, "I'm not going to buy the game this year." That's not going to move the needle.
No, what more? Like I said, you're right. What moves the needle is like you see the things with Star Wars, or what you see with Mass Effect, or hell, even with Battlefield 5. I mean, that's another situation. I mean, we haven't even talked about.
That was another PR stunt.
But that game was successful to the point that they're not making another game in 2 years. And trust me, if that game was successful, that game would have been put out. Another game would have been put out before this generation was over.
Yeah, the difference is Battlefield has been shooting themselves in the foot with things other than what people bitch about. They've just been shooting themselves in the foot as far as the quality of their games the past couple times. That's not even so much the outcry of anything. That's just
Battlefield.
Well, I mean, the only way they would know that the game has been that bad for them shooting themselves in the foot is for consumers to say something.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Battlefield 5.
Battlefield 5. I'm talking about Battlefield 1. And people said, yo, this game is low-key garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went out and they still ended up buying Battlefield 5, and then they said it's garbage. So
no. Battlefield 5 had problems prior to release.
It had problems prior to release.
Especially with the developer sitting there saying, well, if you don't like the way we're making the game, don't buy it.
Yeah,
they said that.
Yeah. Battlefield 5 sales been terrible prior to release. People didn't buy it and then bitch. They had problems with that game prior to that.
But the point I'm making, but the thing is with Battlefield 5 and Battlefield in general, they're not in any type of position to act like that in the first place because they have a game that sells more than them annually.
Well, I mean, living off
position to begin with.
I mean, living off of Battlefield 4, they were feeling themselves. We all knew that, and that's what happened.
But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about companies in power positions. I'm not talking about companies who have to be subservient to their niche fan base.
What do you mean? That's EA Sports
altogether.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not talking about EA Sports. I'm talking about the franchise of Battlefield.
What about it?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? I just said they have to be subservient to the niche fan base as opposed to Call of Duty, who's like, oh, you don't like leaning around walls and camping? I'm going to give you more maps with leaning around the walls and camping. If you don't like it, don't play it. And
well, Call of Duty has their issue. I mean, Call of Duty had their issue as well, and you see what they did with Modern Warfare.
So I mean, they built. Okay, so wait a minute. So what I'm understanding. Wait a minute, Bills. So what I'm understanding is that your entire focus, as far as your argument, is based on power companies. It's based on those companies that are too big to fail.
My focus is on the fact that when you put out a game and you have an avid fan base that will pretty much go against any little small niche group that bitches about it, you are not at the mercy of the consumer.
And I agree with you on that.
So that's what I was saying.
But you didn't say the power companies. You just said in general that's what it was. That's what I was trying to pinpoint.
That's why I said I talked to you offline about this, and that's what I addressed. I addressed the power companies.
Yeah, but you said that then. And then also it was a while ago, so I don't remember exactly every single. Oh, was it?
Yes, it was. That was a week ago because we talked about Madden as an example.
I mean, my thing is, at the end of the day, most of these companies, no matter how big they are, they're going to listen to what people say. The problem is with Madden is they have the luxury not to listen because of the exclusive license
and because they have power.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the license give them power. If they had another company doing something, yeah, absolutely.
But what I'm saying, if they did have a license, it wouldn't matter if they're not making a good game on the other side.
Yeah, well, how will we know that? I mean, nobody made another game in 15, 20 years.
What I'm saying is if they're not making a good game on the other side, you having a license means nothing. Look at 2K and Live. They had a license.
I mean, but when we're talking about football, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When we're talking about football, I mean, we're adding another wrench into the toolbox when you say if the other team ain't making a good game. Like, we don't know that because the game wasn't been made in almost 20 years.
But the point I'm bringing up to you is the fact that you see a direct example of a franchise that has competition on the other side, and they have the license to the NBA, and it doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Because what license does 2K have, or I should say, what type of reason do they have to innovate every year with Live having the license and doing?
Well, I will say this. Live, I mean, 2K15 stepped their game up when they thought NBA Live 15 was coming up.
Yeah, because
they did it exactly. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're not. The one thing I can say about 2K, they haven't been necessarily staying stagnant when they knew another game was coming out. Every time Live tried to come up with a game, they did try to push the envelope. I mean, you can see it with, you could definitely see it with 2K18 and 19. But because they knew that another game was coming out. So I will give them credit for that.
But the point I'm making to you is I don't think Madden would change their direction based on another team having the license to make
Well, let's look at it like this. Where the yard came from. They knew 2K is coming up with something.
The yard came from the fact that they wanted to put another bullshit mode in to go with the bullshit mode that they put in already.
Well, I mean, but they knew what 2K is coming out with. They're coming out with the same type of game.
Yeah, but
that's why they did that.
Rolling than anything. I don't think they think that 2K is going to move the needle with an arcade game. I don't think.
No. They feel that they are. That's why they did it. If they didn't, they wouldn't be doing it.
I completely disagree with that.
I mean, I just look at it like this. They, as far as their arcade modes, they have 3 of them in the game. So it's basically going to be a handicap match against 2K coming up. 3 arcade modes versus 1.
I mean, not only that, you just look at what happened when these indie developers on PC started to make some noise. What they do at Madden, put Madden on PC. So they're doing things to know the shot of competition wherever it comes. So I mean, they're not just sitting back saying, "Oh, we got games on Xbox One and PS4. We don't care about that." No, they're going to try to corner the market every turn they get. Now I don't blame them.
Try to corner the market, but what I'm saying is,
EA's trying to corner the market.
As far as Madden turning into this game where they put maximum effort into making it a sim title because somebody
no. None of us on this panel believes that. We know that.
Yeah,
we know that. But for them to shut out the competition, they'll do anything they can to do so. I mean, it's been proven.
Competition at bay, but you were talking about having direct competition and actually having.
No, they're not even trying to have direct competition. They're not even trying to have direct competition. They're not even giving a direct competition that's close to it even a chance.
You made a point about no other company has been able to make a game a year, so we really don't know. And I'm telling you, I don't believe that just because another company has an NFL stamp on the front of their game that it's going to change what EA does.
I can believe that because I believe that honestly, if 2K had the license all this time, they would have dog walked Madden by now. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Of course they would have. If you can't step up your game, it doesn't matter whether you have competition or not. What you can do is showing right now. That's not a lack of urgency. That's literally their company.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because at the end of the day, what they're doing is like they rather cut companies off at the path instead of actually competing with them.
Of course.
And when they do have to compete with them, you see what happened with NBA Live.
Because they have the power of ignorance. If nobody knows that they can't accomplish these things, then they'll just go about it as a way of, well, you'll never find out if we had competition because we won't have it.
Right. And also look at this on the back end. I mean, you look at PES and FIFA right now. I mean, PES is the better soccer game on the pitch, but you know what FIFA has on their end to pull people in. I mean, are you really playing an authentic soccer game or are you playing for the bells and whistles?
But FIFA's another game that they're another franchise that doesn't give a shit about their fans.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying.
Have to. So that's what I'm saying. It's more so, it's obviously the power companies that do this. And it's like that in every industry. And I don't think Madden's any different than that. I think that in general, they set the precedent and the fans follow because they have to. They have no choice. They're followers.
So I just think at the end of the day, if all of these companies just had some form of head-to-head competition, they'll have to vie and they have to work to get that money. And unfortunately, not only just with Madden, you have other companies out here that make games. They just don't have that they don't have that head-to-head competition to actually garner your money. I mean, most of these games now that come out with games, they're basically one of a kind. Yeah, they may be run the same way as far as gameplay, but they're not like direct, like this game and that game. Like the closest thing we have to that is maybe Uncharted and Tomb Raider. Maybe the two closest ones. But all the other ones, all the other games are like one of a kind. Like Assassin's Creed is Assassin's Creed, Metroid is Metro.
Hold up. I'm hearing that if this upcoming game that's coming out this week is anything like what Assassin's Creed used to be, then Yeah.
Well, now you're saying used to be, but I mean, is it a direct competition to what Assassin's Creed is now compared to what Ghost of Tsushima is now? See, that's what I'm saying. You don't have that head-to-head, one-to-one, like this game and this game are very comparable to the point where I'm going to have a problem playing either one at one time because it's almost like an identical game. Which one do it best as being identical? This game is going back to where it used to be.
Thank God.
Yeah, but it's also doing it in an open world type fashion. So it does include head-to-head elements. So that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I mean, look, Assassin's Creed's coming out close to launch day of the consoles, and I mean, quite frankly, they haven't innovated in years. They have the same shitty movement system that they did way back in Assassin's Creed 2. I don't know why people still buy that game, honestly.
Hey man, some people just love it. I mean, me personally, I played about halfway through the first one and I never looked back. I never got into the series.
I mean, there's no reason I should play Assassin's Creed 2 and then go and play Odyssey and they move exactly the same. The movement is the same as an Xbox 360 game. That's embarrassing.
And the thing is, a lot of people say Assassin's Creed 2 is really good.
It is. It's amazing. But I mean, it was
that's
amazing.
The only one.
2007.
Yeah, that's the only one that's the only Assassin's Creed that I beat was part 2.
I may just go back and get that one and play it just for the hell of it.
You might as well. It's the best one of the series, in my opinion.
I don't know about that. I thought part 3 was the best. It featured Native Americans.
Well, I mean, it's cool.
Wait a minute. You trying to get rid of the Redskins? You talking about Native Americans, sir?
It's part of history.
No, I'm just.
That's why you liked it, because it was part of history.
I'm like, no. To tell you the truth, all of it's a part of history. They intertwine the fiction. It's funny. It kind of blurs the line of what could be true versus what isn't true, and it's just like they find a way to intertwine history with their story. I do like that. So I'm like, it seemed like they kind of went away from that when they went open world, but assassin pirate
was open world the whole time though.
No, it wasn't,
bro.
Assassin's Creed when it started out was more linear and not so much open world than it is now. Now it's more open. It's strictly open world now, like side quests and everything.
Yeah, but even for how linear it was then, it wasn't very linear.
Okay, I just realized now. I just looked on my shelf. I got Assassin's Creed 1, 3, and Revelations. I don't have 2, so I'm gonna have to go get 2 somewhere.
Yeah, 3 was okay. People just love it for the American Revolution shit.
Oh, okay. Let's look at some of the chat because we've been going back and forth for a while. We haven't checked the chat for.
Yeah, we broke out into like a full debate.
But I mean, that's good, man. That's good for the show, man. You know, it's all good.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that we can't have people that are literally planning to be against us on the show because, you know, how would we ever disagree with each other?
Hey, that's what some people
remember. What was that dude's name? I even fucking remember his name. What was his name?
I don't know, but somebody said that we don't disagree. We don't agree. We agree with everything. I mean,
like he picks boogers out of his nose and eats them.
Now I don't see any. I see some people saying about Battlefield 4. A lot of problems with Battlefield 4. Ravens Nation. I don't want to hear that again.
Wow. What did he say?
What were the problems with Battlefield 4?
I don't know. I'm looking at.
I would say other than the initial release on next gen,
right?
That's it.
Ravens Nation said Battlefield 4 had problems that me as a long original Battlefield player I did not like. He doesn't list any of them. Okay, that's too.
Hold on, hold on. I got a question for Ravens Nation. What was your first Battlefield game that you played?
No, wait a minute.
Because I want to know how much of a long time player you are.
Nah, read the second part of this shit. He said, I can list several reasons, several issues with Battlefield 4. My main 2 issues were 1, the loot boxes. 2, it attracted more casuals than any other Battlefield in history.
What?
Are you dead ass?
What?
Hey,
look at 1 and 5.
But the thing about it is,
you can't.
Hey, here it is. I see it right here. The thing 5, about it is, hold on. Oh, go ahead, DJ.
With Battlefield 5, you can't get elite soldiers without paying cash.
Right.
Right.
Transactions are literally attracting casuals. They don't want to play the game to get good at it. That's why you attract the casuals to pay so they can be good.
I will say this. It attracted casuals, Battlefield 4 did, because it was good. And you know what it did? It made them not.
Yeah, your mic went out again.
Man,
Again.
Sean Grady at it again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello,
Now
can you hear me?
you.
Okay, good. I said the thing about it is the casuals came in, but they made them play. They didn't make them play like casuals. You had to play straight up. There was no BS going on in Battlefield 4, in my opinion.
You know what it was, VF? Here's what I think drew in the casuals. I remember the E3 presentation. They showed, I believe it was Siege of Shanghai, where the building falls.
Yeah.
That might be the only thing that they were doing to attract casuals. Because other than that, it was just a better version of the Battlefields of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So I disagree with the.
Yeah, they brought him on with Levolution. That's basically what the marketing ploy right there.
I think they put out a great game, and people got tired of Call of Duty's bullshit, and they came over to Battlefield 4 because they said this looks like a next gen experience. Like, why does Call of Duty still not have destructible environments? They went over and saw, oh, Battlefield on a big stage like E3, destructible environments. I can get with this because I can guarantee you a lot of Call of Duty players probably didn't even know about Battlefield up till then. Battlefield bought that time strategically on E3 to show that game because they knew it was going to be a banger, and that's how they got their casual fans in. And then they threw them away with 1 and 5.
I think Battlefield 3 and 4 was like the best that EA Dice done. I mean, they did a phenomenal job with those two games. I mean, Bad Company 2, obviously, yes, that's another one. Like those three, there was the ones like if you play any of those three games, you got a good first-person shooter experience. I mean, Ravens Nation's like the only person on earth with the dissenting opinion, but that's okay. I mean, he'd be all right. But I mean, Battlefield 4, I mean, countless times. I mean, me and DJ, we played even though that the servers were bad. Me and Bills had our times on it. It's like,
oh man,
yeah. It was. I mean, it's a good game in my opinion. I just don't see where
it had a huge skill gap, man.
It did. And the thing about it is the weapons. Even though the weapons where you can unlock all the weapons if you paid money, it wasn't like a gambling system with loot boxes. It was like, look, you can pay the booster to get all the weapons, and all the weapons felt different. It's like you couldn't just go up in there and just use any weapon and be, even if a weapon was OP, EA Dice went in and fixed it.
Battlefield 4 had things that Call of Duty just now added in Modern Warfare, like specific modifications for each gun, specific attachments. You didn't have the same cookie cutter attachments for every single gun,
right?
All that shit was in Battlefield 4, and Modern Warfare slowly but surely, I should say Call of Duty slowly but surely gotten to that point, but Battlefield 4 was so far ahead of its time.
I seen a video recently. Somebody was like finding new stuff in Battlefield 4, like you can do Morse code on some on one of the in various areas of the maps, and it opens up different things that nobody didn't even know that was in the game to this day.
He said Bad Company 2 gave us the best community and the best DLC. All right, bro. You know what? GG. I'm good with this.
I mean, free DLC. I put it like this: free DLC is always good, but context matters. I mean, context matters. Like when you do pay for a premium version of a game, and it feels like you got like 2 or 3 different games. Like I had no problem buying premium for Battlefield 4. It felt like I got 2 or 3 different games.
Battlefield 4 gave you a shit ton of maps and night versions of those maps.
Yep,
and all of them were good.
Yeah, they gave you like 6 different versions of maps.
Battlefield 4 might be the best set of microtransactions in the history of gaming, and I'm not even exaggerating.
I can agree with that.
Pay for a map pack. You want to pay for map packs like that?
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can be honest. I can agree with that. They did a very good job. And I mean, and you want to sit here and think, oh, they just caping for Battlefield 4. This is one game I can honestly say. I can't speak for the other 2, but this is one game I can honestly say, yep, you know what? I'm low key a fanboy of because
I'll be a fanboy of that game. They gave me good reasons to.
Yeah, they did everything. They did everything right when it comes to, hey, we want you to pay for extra stuff. And they did it right. It's not like you got any rinky-dink shit. You got everything that they said they was gonna give you, and you didn't feel cheated. Like it was $60 well spent. I bought premium 3 different times, and it was money well spent.
And the thing about the DLC is, with Call of Duty, the thing I hate about them they do one or two things with DLC. Either they recycle a map and they kind of make it a little bit different as far as the scenery, the type of area
Right.
in, as far as like the look, but it's really the same setup as far as the architecture.
Right.
But they either do that or they experiment and they make a shitty map. Battlefield wasn't experimenting. They stuck to what they knew. They stuck to what types
Well,
of maps.
not only that, Bills, even when they did go back and do those maps from Battlefield 3, they were good. Because they did Operation Metro, and they did what was the other one that they did? They did the whole thing based on Battlefield 3. They up the Battlefield 3 maps. They were really good.
Putting the same ones back in the game is one thing, but Call of Duty will take a map that they had before and make it somehow worse by putting windows where there weren't windows. And it's like it reminds you of the old map, but a shitty version of it.
Right.
But Battlefield just say, you like this map, here's this map. That's the difference.
Gotcha. Let's see. I got a couple of comments before we go into the other topic. Jared Green said, "You're correct. I played Battlefield 5 and you do have to pay to get elite soldiers." Yes, you do.
And the sad thing about that is that they featured these soldiers in those E3 and other conferences as part of their marketing for the game. So if you're going to include something that in the back end, the only way you can get them is by paying cash is bullshit.
Right, exactly. Let's see.
Well, that on top of the fact that Battlefield 5 just completely went away from the authentic historical
of Battlefield 2,
narrative.
Yeah,
that was crazy. That's why I like Battlefield 1. So when people talk about Battlefield 1 was a bad game,
I'll take Battlefield 1 any day over Battlefield 5.
Oh, yeah.
Battlefield 1.
Because at least with Battlefield 1, they gave you World War 1.
Battlefield for me was more so growing pains than anything with the shooting, and I just really didn't.
Yeah, because you didn't have those attachments and stuff like that. You had to really gauge. Yeah. And plus, everybody tends to think guns are supposed to shoot perfectly back then.
Right.
No,
they don't.
Fire whichever way they could, because the technology was.
You shoot with a Sten back then is way different than shooting with a G36C. You know.
That's why. That's why it was funny when people would complain about, well, when I point to here, it doesn't shoot straight. Well, it's a World War I weapon. You're talking about 1919. We don't.
You'll be lucky if you shoot straight with that damn thing.
Right.
Battlefield 1 for me was like, I couldn't put as much time into it as Battlefield 4 to actually unlock those weapons because I just didn't enjoy the game as much from a map perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the maps were better in Battlefield 4. So when I played Battlefield 1, yeah, they still had the dynamic weather, but there was something about it. I didn't like the maps. It seemed like there was a lot more camping than Battlefield 4. And then the other thing was, like, I'm looking at these dudes wrecking me with these better guns, and I'm like, shit, if I had the gun you're running around with, I mean, shit.
But the thing about that is, again, Bill, let's go back to what we talked about. By then, Battlefield 1, they literally had loot boxes in those games at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They didn't have it like Battlefield 4.
Grind them, open these fucking chump ass boxes that they reward you, and people going and buying the shit. So I'm like, all right, man, like, I'm good at this game.
Right. See, it's totally different. Like back then, they literally had like loot boxes, and it was like real bad microtransactions, and they were like done. They were like day one and shit, So it was crazy.
And by the time I got tired of it, they put Call of Duty put World War II out, and that game was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was a good. I will agree. That was a good Call of Duty. They finally went back to the roots and did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So let's talk about this article real quick, Bill. DJ, let me pull this up.
I think Bills can lead this because he read more of it than I did.
Okay, that'll work. Real quick. Cause I got is in the chat, is in the StreamYard chat if you can't find it. Gotcha. It's in the StreamYard chat if you can't find it. So if y'all don't know, while Bill's waiting to find the article, Madden 21 came out with an article today about the playbooks and AI gameplay updates. So basically, they put a patch already in the game. I think DJ and Bill's already kind of knew this because they played the beta. So I'm gonna let them talk about it and let you know what's to come with Madden 21.
Yeah, so just they've just been kind of upgrading the playbooks as far as keeping them up to date with what a lot of the teams are running and based on the new personnel, new coaches, things like that.
Mhm.
That's nothing new. They've been doing that, so they've actually been doing a pretty good job. I know there are people out there that break down the playbooks a lot more than me, and they go, "Oh, well, this play is not." Yeah, well, I mean, for the most part, they're doing pretty good from my perspective. Um, so yeah, as far as the AI, that's what I really wanted to get into.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's where I'm at too.
Me and DJ probably experienced a lot of these things for playing the beta. If you didn't play the beta, this probably all is kind of coming as a surprise to you. But there are a lot of things that they talk about under the defensive adjustments to offensive motion, for example.
Mhm.
Now, basically, to simplify that, basically now teams will adjust their coverage shell according to the players that you move in motion to more realistically line up, you know, to be in the best position to stop whatever play you're running. And that goes along with the auto defensive shift, which a lot of people don't like.
That's interesting.
Flip. A lot of people don't like auto defensive flip, and I kind of get why sometimes it messes up the coverage shells. But in this situation,
Mhm.
they've added AI where it makes a lot more sense how they align according to who you send in motion. So if you had a tight end in slot, you send them over to the opposite side, then they'll be able to adjust accordingly to that. So that's pretty interesting. A lot of times last year, and I saw this on some online games I watched, like NY Kia play, last year, if you sent a guy in motion, it would send your defense into fucking just disarray at times. So that's definitely improvement. Um, you have anything to add to that, DJ? Or
Uh, like I think some of the stuff I pointed out in a previous stream, like just like beyond that, you have tiny adjustments that you'll see, like the defensive AI. The one thing that I was kind of disappointed is that they don't really make it official
yeah, I
that
would put
there's
things that
adaptive AI in the defensive side because they make it clear about the offense. And that's the one that is clearly emphasized in this article. But
mm,
it's like there are little things that people will find out that there's at least a hint of adaptive AI with individual defensive, like maybe defensive audibles may pop up, just shifting here and there. Uh, I think some of the pre-play fidgets come to mind.
they actually do something too. It's not just like
Right.
they're not just fidgeting for the sake of like they're actually checking to a different play or
Hmm.
alerting their guys to something.
And then also the fact uh, that they should be from the longest time. From my understanding, they were supposed to be using the same type of coaching adjustments that we would make as users.
And finally, they
So
actually are.
and I figure that's going to be more emphasized. Especially, it's going to be more emphasized the higher the difficulty level you go. I'm like I said, I'm an all pro user.
Mhm.
So and for the fact that I feel like that's the most balanced part of the game. But you go to all Madden, they will use it.
And
They definitely will use it.
the thing with that also, they did use the coverage, or I should say, the coaching adjustments, but they were like towards the end of the game where, they're going to go for aggressive tackles now to kind of try to
Right.
fumble, but not like match their best guys up with your best guys on defense,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Or I also noticed that you have to kind of dig deep to notice these things when you're playing against a team, but you may also notice that they might line up like they're in man every time. Their coverage shell might naturally be man instead of their
Mm-hmm.
base or their base alignment. So, if you have a team, there are certain teams in the NFL that do that. They'll line up and give a man look every single play. And that's how they kind of disguise when they're in zone and disguise who's blitzing, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to see the computer use that in the beta. Pass coverage, they basically just kind of tune things to make ratings matter more. I'm not really going to go through all of this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
they changed the animation system a little bit to make more sense as far as which guys can get pressed off the line and getting the proper releases, things like that. Um,
I think you pointed out an example. I don't know if you did it on the stream or we were just talking. You were talking about how what's the name Hill, how he just dusted whoever he had in front of him. It was just like he caught it and was just gone.
Yeah, because it says here. See if I
As
can
far as like the
find this. Okay, this will defenders in Madden 21 will now get faked out by certain wide receiver releases. This allows more animation content in these situations and will allow for more separation off the line of scrimmage versus outmatched defensive backs. Um, Also, what they're going to talk about in the next part is the fact that they talked about animations that allowed receivers to get into their routes a lot quicker. Because they talked about according to their body type, they're gonna have different stances off the line.
and
So
that was one of the things I noticed right out the gate. Now,
that
now,
helped Tyreek Hill. I think
mm-hmm.
that's what you were alluding to. Yeah. Um,
And
yeah.
then they,
Oh, good.
I was about to say, then they kind of just go into like general gameplay tuning or general play tuning.
Right.
Um,
They say they fixed the slip screen.
Yeah, we talked. See, we talked about the timing of the pass plays when Beast Mode was on here.
yeah.
I'm glad they addressed that because it says
Mm-hmm.
we added more variety in receiver stance animations, which account for the receiver's body type, along with the new stance. We cleaned up some issues with releases into their routes when not being pressed to get them into their routes downfield to improve the timing of the passing game. So it's like I said last year and in past years because of the movement system and the movement animations that they had to put these guys almost on training wheels to allow the defense to be in position. This year, that's not
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. This year, they're going to get into their routes a lot quicker. And they also talked about quarterbacks meeting the receiver with the ball right out of his break, even before his break. Sometimes I talked to DJ about that.
Yeah, that's been a problem for a good while though.
All this
Well,
stuff has been in the beta. All the stuff was in the beta. It's pretty impressive to see in Madden because
right, because I know another one I've had an issue with for a long time is on the wide receiver slip screens when the receiver will catch it.
yes,
Sometimes he'll run backwards for a second because he didn't have the animation to really just turn upfield. Yeah, they're turning upfield
yep.
quickly, and
Okay.
so hopefully that I expect that it reduces the number of times you see that from receivers going back. I don't expect it to be totally gone. But I would like it to be totally gone because that's just you
Right.
catch the screen, you're not taking a step backwards because you're caught in any type of like prolonged catch animation because that's what would happen. It's like they would catch it, be caught in this prolonged catch animation. You wind up
Yeah.
like a couple yards when all you had to do really you just catch it, either catch it, stand still, turn upfield, and go like I did with Hill. I got him on a slip screen. He caught and was gone. I was
Yeah.
just like,
Right.
dang. I'm like, it was faster than any. The response was just faster than any Madden I've ran that slip screen with.
Yeah, the bubble screen is really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that they really need to work on because the bubble screen always had like its issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the animation or the route running of the bubble screen was like severely slow, where you would throw the ball, it seemed like you throw it in front of them, but it'd be like behind the line of scrimmage. It's like it's not like a bubble where they by the time you hike the ball and ready to throw it, that receiver should already make that bubble and ready to run upfield. They didn't have
Exactly.
that in Madden. It hasn't been there for a while.
Well,
Like
then the thing
they
is,
even have that trouble. They still have that trouble in NCAA.
well,
You
and people
know,
who don't watch college football and they just play Madden, they might wonder like why anybody would even run one because it never works on the video game. But
right?
in real life, essentially how it works, those blockers are already in position. You run that bubble screen, you're just kind of curling out to make sure it's a forward pass rather than a backwards pass.
Right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I
You
think
catch the ball.
that's what
Okay.
Pete Frenner brings up.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about same problem with swing routes by the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of times that winds up being, and that and stuff like that will mess up stats because then you thinking you just threw a pass and no, it's a rush.
Or sometimes, or either that it'd be instead of incomplete pass, could be a fumble.
Fumble, exactly.
So down the field blocking, which they didn't mention, is a lot better.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Like I think the first time I ran a screenplay.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, if you have the correct guys, I mean, like Marquise Brown or Tyreek Hill, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
it could be lethal. VF also brought up the halfback screen, so that's one thing that I noticed in the beta. Also, the running backs are a lot smarter about where they kind of take off after that initial pause because they're not really running into the defense anymore the way they did last year. They kind of aimlessly would run into the defense if there was a defender there. They would kind of just disregard him. It would end up
Mm-hmm.
being a loss or shit. He might fumble. But this year, they're a lot smarter about it. The blocking's a lot better. They don't really want to allow that free rusher every single time. They kind of want to make sure the quarterback has time to get the ball off. So that's been tuned a little bit. The one that is probably gonna get people the most is the AI play calling in the clock management section. Um, I've complained about the play calling for years. Uh, I've hated the AI play calling. It's been so generic. It's been so repetitive. You know, they pop that thing up on the screen that tells you what play they ran last, and it's just like cookie cutter shit that like every team ran. So now it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be more diverse. They said AI control teams will mix up a more diverse set of pass concepts so they're less predictable. They also said that on offense, you're gonna have to, on defense, you're gonna have to run um, some different plays because the quarterback will now be able to kind of detect what defense you're in if you keep running the same play. So that's nice. They also said that the quarterbacks will act according to their traits, which should have already been the case. So
Yeah.
scrambling quarterbacks will basically take off. Pocket quarterbacks will try to throw the ball away before they get sacked. They also said that the throw under pressure situation, as far as quarterbacks getting the ball off before they get sacked, that's going to be a lot, I guess, more realistic in all Madden. Um,
Mm.
Other than that, I mean, yeah, you know, talking about making better decisions towards the end of games, end of halves, better clock
Better,
management.
yeah, better usage of
Clock
timeout.
management. Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, this one's kind of nice. A pocket quarterback will look to throw the ball way more when feeling under pressure, or even take those one-on-one shots down the field to favorable matchups. I like that because I noticed that. That's another thing I kind of hated about Madden is teams that throw the ball down the field don't really do it as much in the game.
Right.
They also said that in game time situations, or I should say in late game situations, if they really need a big game or like it's a 4th and 10 or something, they'll throw into coverage because they have no choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to before when you know the AI would pick the wrong time to actually make the right football play, which is throw it away or hold for a sack, something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's interesting. I mean, all the stuff we kind of talked about. Um, they said they'll target their best receivers when they really need a play to be made. That's nice.
Yeah, I think I did see they would be more aggressive
Mm-hmm.
towards the
Mm-hmm.
important points in the game.
Right. I mean, there's nothing like having an opposing receiver get shut out, and you know you look at your number one cornerback, and he's not nearly good enough to shut him
Right.
out. I mean, a lot of times the AI kind of just wouldn't look towards that receiver for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all these things are valued improvements. Just got it. It took forever. That's really what I have to say about it, honestly.
Now it's funny, Ravens Nation brings up a good point. I feel like I've heard these same things around when Madden 13 came out. As far as we know, the only quarterback that has actually gone down to EA and done his own thing is Cam Newton.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
Interesting.
remember like back then they would say it was talking about quarterback AI and how like each AI was programmed to their real life counterpart. Cam Newton, I think, was the only one that actually went down there
yeah,
and had his.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. You're right. I just thought about that. You're right. Hmm.
They have
Okay.
they actually have an ability to get the ball off faster under pressure too. Lamar Jackson has it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget where I saw that, but he has an ability to get the ball off faster. I don't remember what it was called, but it's kind of interesting that that's an ability. Um, Overall, like I said, positives definitely. Um, it'll give the game more replayability, even in play now. Which looks like a lot of people are going to reside there if they get the game this year because franchise, um, they still haven't given a date for when they're even going to tell us what they've been working on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
and
Sean Grady's done a couple of interviews,
right,
and
and he's still kind of like, oh, well, we can't tell you just yet. We already had leaked news from somebody in the beta talked about. I think SGO reported and Brian Mazik. No, Brian Mazik wrote about it. SGO reported on Brian Mazik leak or whatever, and basically CPU versus CPU you can watch right now on in the in whoever's in the beta the secret beta now. They've enabled that, so I'm just like, okay,
Right.
that's why people exposing the franchise is like we knew it was pure shit when you went in there,
yep.
because by the time he put that video out, they didn't have enough time to put any of the things that he probably was talking about in there.
Hey, one thing did come out for franchise mode. Brian Mazik put out. You can now watch CPU versus CPU in your
I
franchise, though.
He
I
just said
just said
that.
that.
I know. I'm just messing, man.
Yeah, right. You
No, I did not. I
you've
did
done
not.
stuff like this
No, no,
before.
I did not. Seriously, I didn't know, man. I was just messing with you.
Oh my
Man.
god. No, but
Mm.
I feel like they didn't have enough time to put those things that they were talking about into the franchise by the time DJ got in, I guess illegally, but shit, you get in how you fit in.
No, I got that. Yeah, I don't think it was illegal.
It wasn't illegal shit.
I
I
think
mean,
somebody. I think it's one of those things where like somebody was working on it and they didn't. It didn't update. And of
right.
course, like the situation was, I was down because even I was still playing a Play Now game before it. So it's just like somebody left something open
Mm-hmm.
that I could play. I
Yeah.
wonder if I could at least if I go and delete it and upload it again while it's loading up, once it's ready to play, not download but ready to play, if I could still do the Play Now game and play up until it downloads. I should try that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be.
But yeah, I think I hate going back to this, but I think we're gonna get something for franchise release day. I just don't exactly know what
Nah,
it's gonna be.
I think it's going. I think we're gonna get something.
They're gonna do something.
You know, because I think that, like I said when we first talked about that, I think the outcry is too big. They have to do something, and I'm not saying that they're going to meet all demands. I mean, you can't please everybody, but they're going to do something because when you have like Wendy's and all these other places that have some type of name talking down about your game, you're going to do something.
Well, I'm tell you what, Wendy's needs to stop supporting Trump. That's what I need to do.
You don't like Wendy's anyway.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons. But then
Shit,
also
Wendy's,
that other reason, damn
Wendy's is fucking
frozen
delicious.
ass
I don't.
fry.
They're fucking delicious. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah, until they give you a frozen fry in your hot
Oh
fries.
my god. DJ will hang on that for the rest of eternity.
And I mean, that's fine. I mean, I sucks that he had that situation, but I haven't. I mean,
And you will have that moment.
them shits are good.
You will have that moment.
Let's look at some of these comments. Let's see. State of Franchise Sports says Sony San Diego has players that come down to the studio every year. Yeah, I think they do that with MLB The Show. Yeah, EA has a chance for years. We've been saying this for a long time. I think EA could at least get some third string guys who never going to play in the pros. Those third string guys have enough technique or they have enough player movement to make it look right. I mean, you get some third string guys that played in college. I mean, they may not be good at what they do, but the motion and the player movement is there. They're just not as talented enough. I think you could have gave those guys a job.
He said that
to do something.
is clutch.
It is, bro.
Until you find out who made it.
Yeah,
until they put a whole jar of mayonnaise on that shit.
EA needs to leak. EA needs to leak what they're going to do because people are mad, aren't going to buy.
They're just going to tell us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
people are going to buy though. He's wrong about that.
Yeah, expectations are low. As long as Peyton Manning still takes 25 seconds to say Hutton, I'm saying, shut up. And he said the Baconator is clutch. Yeah, I agree. Look, I'm not a big fan of Wendy's, but every time I've gone there, the food was good.
Now I have a random question, and I feel like this is not. There's no other. I don't know if OG is still listening. What is this with the timeout situation with the AI not calling timeouts when they normally used to? Like it's I
Huh?
I need some answers on that
You talking about 2K?
because NBA 2K20
Uh-huh.
whenever you play and let's say you can go on a run, you could players could be fatiguing. I'll have games where the CPU does not call timeout to save their life. I've seen the CPU get to the point in the in late in the games where because the fourth quarter they automatically take away your timeouts that you have if you have more
Yeah,
than
use them or
four.
lose them.
Right. But I've seen the CPU too many times get to that point, and it's just like this wasn't a thing up until either last year or this year. So I need some answers on that.
Well, the other thing
If
is though,
and you don't have to answer that online on this podcast, hit me up DMs. That'll work.
well, because the other thing I've asked for in 2K is a dynamic. I mean, even a slider will work, but dynamic AI for each coach. I mean, some coaches will let a team go on a run, and they want to see how their team will react. Other coaches know that their players aren't going to react well to it. They call timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Some coaches call a timeout to stop a run before it even starts. They'll be up 20. They'll see two baskets and it'll go down to 16. They're like, no, I'm calling timeout right now. Those are the things I want to see in 2K because yeah, there's not enough stoppages in play. Those games fly by when there's no timeouts getting called. I mean, you'll never watch an NBA game with no timeouts called. You might watch
Yeah.
them with very few fouls called, but there's gonna be some timeouts. It's just that's. I mean, shit. Do they even have the TV timeouts in the game?
No.
No, but I will say like the only thing my experience, like now I play a lot of NBA 2K14. I went back to play 20 the other day, and I don't have a problem with 20, but I play 2K14 with the UBR mods on PC.
Mm-hmm.
That game, even at its core, they do it right. Like the timeouts, they call timeout if you want to run, the players are tired, they feel like they're, it's a mismatch. 2K14, the PlayStation 3 version, which is on PC, they've done a very good job of that. What you guys asked for, I think that's something that haven't really been implemented well since it came to next gen.
I don't know about that because I said that
this is a recent issue.
Yeah, this is a recent issue.
Yeah,
because I mean, see me personally,
Yeah.
I can't remember having that type of game pacing.
2K15, it wasn't an issue. 2K16, it wasn't an issue.
The more I look back at 2K15, man, those were the days.
I will say, yeah, 15 probably had it when times I've played it, but I can't really remember that it's been like the norm this generation where situational, timeouts actually was made. I mean, that's just something I haven't experienced for the most part this entire generation. 15 probably did it right because I did play that for 17 maybe, but I know 15, did it because I played more 15 franchise than anything.
OG, that's another question.
13 wasn't on next gen. We're not worried about that.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
That game was
that's what I'm saying. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of 13 at all.
Yeah, that game was ass.
Yeah, the only thing I like about 2K13 that they finally gave you manual bounce passing in the game.
You couldn't block dunks.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything else. Like the manual bounce passing, they finally put it back in the game, and which it was gone since College Hoops 2K8. But I digress. They finally put it back in 2K13. But other than that, Ravens Nation talking crazy now. Y'all got that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna just ignore it.
What was I saying? 2K15. Another question, Scott OG. Me and DJ have been huge advocates for the lighting in 2K15.
Especially Madison Square Garden.
Especially MSG. The freaking Staples Center was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
We need that lighting back, yo. We need that lighting back. It's like the final frontier for y'all graphically. We need that lighting back to where it was.
Well, let's hope that the next gen version of 2K takes care of that.
They're gonna have ray tracing in there. There is no.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think ray tracing may help.
Working on lighting, and then you get the game, and it's like, yeah, but you like did worse.
Yeah, because what was it? 2K16 and 17, it kept going back and forth. Yep. Like one moment it wasn't good, then all of a sudden it was perfect, and then it went back. I was like,
2K15 is perfect, man.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the lighting's concerned,
Or maybe we're missing something because we're looking at it through the TV. I've never actually been in Madison Square Garden. Some people may be viewing the lighting or putting the graphics of the lighting based on being inside.
well, no,
But
because when you're inside, it's dark as hell in there.
have you been inside there?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, that's okay. Then there we go. We got somebody who's been inside MSG because I've never been inside MSG. I've only seen it through the TV, so I definitely want something that mimics and yeah. Okay.
Because think about this. NHL has it pretty close. I'll say off the ice, not so much.
I feel like
ice.
2K when NHL 2K they had it. Their lighting was way better for the NHL stadiums.
MSG, the thing about MSG is
it's like a stage.
It's like a stage, right? Much like Staples Center, where
the
crowd's mostly blacked out. It's very unique. Every crowd shouldn't have that. But now when you look on 2K, it's like very few crowds that do have it, like have it in the game. So the Lakers crowd should be darker. The MSG crowd should definitely be darker. There are a couple other ones, but those are the main ones. So yeah, we need to get back to that 2K15 lighting, man. I know they changed the design of the court, but they didn't change the lighting too much.
Man, this person about to get blocked.
Who?
Some clown put crap fucking stadium on my timeline, bitch. Nobody care about Appalachian State.
Man.
Crap damn goat huggers on my goddamn timeline.
Wow, he called them goat huggers.
They do. They make love to goats. Fuck them.
Wow. Well, I guess that's what they say.
And do apparently.
Well. Anyway, anything y'all got anything else?
Well, for any of goat.
I do have one thing. What do y'all think about Prime leaving NBA Live and jumping to 2K? Y'all think it's a hoax?
It's a formality because they ain't gonna be no NBA Live.
Hey man, Live coming back. Shut up, man. Live coming back.
Shit.
Coming back. Yeah. They coming back. They coming back.
I have no comment because like he still rubbed me the wrong way. He tried to tell me which women could dunk when I actually schooled him on that
one. He really said that?
Yeah. I was just like, really?
Yo, he's going all in on this shit too. The depth in the rating system in NBA 2K is super deep, just like Lives used to be. When the fuck was Lives ever deep?
You see what he's doing, right?
I don't follow him, so I didn't know this shit.
No, I'm just saying. You seeing it now, though, right? Like that dude's nuts, man.
The only thing I'll ride with him with is the whole Justice League thing, the Zack Snyder version, which is going to be on like HBO Go or whatever. So other than that, yeah,
he could. 2K is fabulous. Okay, apparently he gave a declaration 3 days ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked. I'm like, what do y'all think? Like, he actually said
he was like, I'm just the Godfather.
Let me read this. Okay. NBA Live community, y'all have no idea or clue how much I love NBA Live. Okay, this should have been a period there. Anyway, it saddens me greatly that this once great title was the this is like horribly written. It saddens me greatly that this once great title was the Emperor of Basketball Gaming. EA can only blame themselves for what has happened to the franchise. Only them. Yeah, he's lacking punctuation. Now Live is on hospice. Okay.
Hospice? I didn't realize hospice contained dead people.
We as a community have been promised stuff, and then it was a great disappointment. EA of NBA Live is truly coming back on the ninth gen. Okay. If it's truly coming back on 9th gen, y'all got to come correct. You got to come correct. So listen to the community and diehards moving forward. The Godfather is Ghost.
Yeah, he said he's leaving the live. He's leaving the live, camp, and he's 2K down now. So I mean, hey, anything can happen.
We just pull all his old videos up. That's all.
You remember this?
yeah. Prime is leaving. Prime is leaving the NBA Live community for good. Like Mills is gonna complain about EA franchise all year in Madden.
Mills still around?
Unfortunately,
What a joke. Well, anyway,
get rid of
personally, I think once Live come back, which I believe it will, he'll be back on Live's bandwagon. I got a feeling Live probably be back in 22.
And what he'll say, but like, see, I told y'all.
Right, exactly.
Like,
I just had to take a break, and they scared me for a second, but I'm back now.
But I do think, I mean, we will talk about this in a later episode, like maybe 3-4 months down the road. I believe that Live will come back and they will try to do Sim one more time, and that'll be it for them. Because if it don't work, we'll never hear from them again.
I swear, if Live would have announced that they were coming back, Prime would be screaming like a white lady in church.
Like a white lady in church?
White lady?
White lady scream in church?
Hey, I know white lady scream in church?
I know some black I know some black lady that scream in church. My grandmother was one of them. She used to do it, man.
That's what makes it funny. You ever seen a white lady scream in church?
I thought in the white church they like pick up a book of hymns and like read them all like plain and shit. Then
that's a Catholic. That's a Catholic church.
That's what I was getting at. Oh, stop! I'm probably pissing somebody off right now.
See?
Oh God!
Like I started out as a Catholic, so I kind of know.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you never know, man. I just feel that my gut feeling, Live is going to try to make one more. They're going to make one more run at it, and I think they're going to try to do it with 22, and we'll see if it bombs out. We'll probably never hear from them again.
Yo, did y'all know that?
Damn,
this is random.
No, I put in College Hoops 2K8, and I'm just shooting the ball, and it's just amazing how the ball comes off the rim. It's. I think I'm gonna do an NC State dynasty with this. I think I'm gonna abandon NCAA 10. I'm gonna do college.
This is a random shout out to Darius Butler. He's been doing some really good work on Twitter as far as doing football breakdowns. I've been enjoying him.
You mean he's been doing better than 21?
Wow.
Well, anyway,
I'm trying to take the high road here. No, but yeah, he's been doing a great job just doing football breakdowns, and apparently him and Antoine Bethea have a podcast. It's called Man to Man. That sounds pretty homo.
I'm about to say that can go. Hey, that can go several ways. I mean,
that's the way they're going.
Man to man with DB and AB. What's that? Douchebag and
no. You didn't.
Douchebag and ass butt.
You didn't come up with. They didn't come up with that name. You just made that up, right?
Look,
with DB and AB, you just made that up.
I'm gonna screenshot this shit and send it to you. You think I'm joking?
When the podcast's over, I'm gonna give you my thoughts about that name.
And shout out to Antoine Bethea, Howard U grad. I never went to Howard U, but that's
how they get down at Howard U, man to man.
No, just one.
Man, let's get on this podcast, man. Just one. Wait a minute.
Right, that's like a turn. What do you mean just one?
Because only one of them gave you.
Yo.
No, you didn't deny it.
That's some Michael Sam activity going on around here.
Michael Sam out of this. He got drafted.
So did they.
And he canceled himself.
Oh, shit.
Yo, the worst thing that happened to Michael Sam, he let that dude Westbrook take his job in preseason. Yo, that was crazy.
Oh my God.
That dude Westbrook was balling out of control.
They were hyping Michael Sam up with those little 2 highlights he had in preseason. They were talking. I've never seen them hype a quarterback hurry. Oh my God, he made him pass the ball.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. And then dude competition was an undrafted free agent, and dude like balled out and took his job. Yo, it's like crazy.
Nah, that whole like having a camera crew, having a documentary leading up.
Yeah, that's true.
Sitting there waiting for him to get drafted.
I mean, we get it, but it was kind of corny though. We get it, but
you talk about where are they now?
Maybe we don't want to know.
Well, yeah,
I
mean, you want to talk about man to man?
He said, "I don't play zone, coach." No, no. So apparently, the last documented football he played was with the Montreal Alouettes. That was 2015.
Hey, he's like, coach, I know I'm on defense. I don't want to be under center.
Oh, no. Let's say, I only played center or quarterback, either way.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
And if not, you definitely can make me the long snapper.
Oh no.
This
line up a tight end.
Few friends say, remember when dudes got in trouble for commenting on that video of Sam and his boyfriend on Twitter?
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
Oh shit, man.
Got in trouble. Like some people, I think that was like the first time when people started getting like banned and flagged on Twitter. Because back then, being flagged and stuff wasn't really a thing on Twitter or whatever. I think that was like the beginning of that happening.
Apparently retired in 2015.
Oh shoot! In the gaming community, flagging and snitching frowned upon. Not anymore.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that
After
did take a turn.
After sitting out the team's first 5 games, he made his CFL debut on August 7, 2015 against the Ottawa Red. Wait a minute. This team's name is the Red Blacks. Somebody needs to look at this name.
I remember when that happened, I was like, whoa, I don't know about this.
I don't know if that's just racist or stupid. I don't know which one this is right now. I don't.
Can it be both?
It can definitely be both. And became the first publicly gay player to play in a CFL game. He did not record a tackle. So why are we talking about this right now?
Hey, man, we about to go to hell, man.
No. You want to go to hell. No, I got to go to hell. You listen to his next sentence. Sam missed the next game after the team reported he had a sore back.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Hold up. Isn't that how Dwight Howard missed all those games with the Wizards?
This is first and Framerates episode 57. It's time to go.
Oh my god! I wish I was making this up.
It's time to go.
Man, if I was Michael Sam, I would have told nobody it was a sore back. They'd be like, "Yo, yeah, we know."
Dude, if I was Dwight Howard, I wouldn't have missed any games. Just say you didn't want to play for the Wizards. Come on, don't be.
Hey, Bills. Hey, OG. Like, hold up, I didn't sign up for this. Like these dudes are way crazy. I ain't signed up to listen to this. OG be like, look, I'm gonna give y'all a break. I'll be back next Tuesday.
Oh man!
All right, man. The worst I could have done was look up his Wikipedia page.
Let's roll out of here, man. I'm good. Y'all are nuts. No, you're not.
I'm not even gonna comment.
Yo, find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, man. Check
out on life support.
Yeah, all life support, right? And we might not be here after the night. The whole channel might be flagged for comments.
Say we're gonna get canceled for show.
Right. But hey, man, appreciate everybody for the.
Oh,
what?
No, I was just seeing what you had put in the DM.
Oh
my lord!
Money bag talk. What the?
We'll be back Thursday. Don't know the topic yet. I do want to say
purposes, Michael Sam.
I do want to say my stream. I forgot to upload my stream after I did it. The Madden 2002 stream. For some reason, I clicked the wrong button and it didn't stay on the channel. So that's probably if you want to go back and look at it, it's not there. But not much there anyway. It was really, the games were pretty bland until like the third game. The third game was interesting, so it's no need. So I'll probably do another retro stream of like a game, one game of that one day. But it was fun to play. It was different. DJ, definitely go check out his content on dj.81.org. Bills, when you gonna start putting some gameplay up, bro?
Damn.
when
as
I
soon
get
as
a console that
Microsoft,
has a respectable
yeah,
type of
exactly. Especially
Oh
since they
yeah,
closed down Mixer.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot that Microsoft don't give you no sound or nothing.
No sound, bro.
But yeah, man, we're gonna be here. I got some ideas in the making when it comes to Man 21. I will talk to you guys about it once we're done. I think it'll be phenomenal what we're going to do in the coming weeks. Just been thinking about it the other day, so I'm gonna share that with y'all. And once I get the approval of these guys, we'll share it with you. But I think you guys are going to love it. So Thursday, we'll come up with another topic or a couple of topics by then, and we'll just go from there. You guys be blessed. You guys be good. Stay away from that virus. Pete, I hope you're doing good. I hope
Stay away from that.
Stay away from that man to man.
Pete, I hope you're doing better. I hope everything is good with you and in your situation. I hope everything is good.
Yeah,
All jokes to the left. Hope everything is good.
of course, they're supposed to be going to the left. That's what jokes do.
So I hope you guys be good, be safe, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm gonna share this thing with y'all. I think you guys will like it. All right, fellas, y'all be good. Good night. Peace.
Peace.
Man to man.
No,
Wow.
no, man,
No,
not at all.
no.
Yeah, the last sentence of the description says this show aims